It's all about having the key insights, following the leaders of the crypto industry and background stories on blockchain technology trends to keep you one step ahead. Monty Metzger, CEO of LCX.com, keeps you up to speed with what's moving global crypto markets and gives you the latest insights about LCX's platform and ecosystem. This is LCX Insights Live.
Welcome to another session at LCX Insights Live. It's July 14th, 2021, and I'm excited to welcome you here to another special edition of LCX Insights Live. In our live video shows, I'm engaging with the world's top blockchain projects, entrepreneurs and investors and pioneers in crypto and blockchain in honest conversations meant to challenge traditional ways of thinking. My name is Monty Metzger, and I'm founder and CEO at LCX. LCX is a regulated fintech company that focuses on digital asset trading, compliant token offerings, and tokenization. LCX has received 8 blockchain-related approvals by the Lichtenstein regulator, more than any other company in the country. And as you all know, Liechtenstein is a country next to Switzerland and Austria in the middle of Europe. It's a small country, but it's a financial powerhouse, and it has received a AAA rating by Standard & Poor's. That's the highest country rating you can get as a country. But more importantly, Liechtenstein has introduced the most forward-thinking legal framework for cryptocurrencies and blockchain companies, providing legal clarity and security for LCX users. Today's show title is The Future of Decentralized Lending. And today's guest is one of the pioneers in that space. He had been an entrepreneur since the beginning. So he's the inventor of VoIP, Voice over IP Internet Protocol, with a foundational patent back in 1994. So in the first internet wave, and is now working on a more money over internet protocol, the MOIP protocol. Over 35 patents had been issued to him related to exchanges, VoIP protocol, messages, and communication. He's a serial entrepreneur and founder of 7 New York City-based startups, raising more than $1 billion and exiting over $3 billion worth of capital. He founded 2 of the New York City top 10 venture-backed exits since 2000, including Airbnb, with a 2004 IPO, with a market capitalization of over 750 million, and Transit Wireless valued over 1.2 billion. Also, he has received numerous awards for innovation, including nomination twice for EY's Entrepreneur of the Year. So his background is outstanding. He's a pioneer in web-based and now crypto-based things. His work has been rewarded, awarded. A lot of people have been participating now to build what he's doing now. And I'm thrilled and exciting to welcome you here, Alex Mashinsky. Let's get you on the show. Here you are.
Hi, good to see you again.
Excellent. Yeah. Alex, it's been a while since we last met, 3 years ago at a San Francisco gathering at a conference, I think the Blockchain Week, where it was the last time we met in person. And since then, I've been following your development with Celsius. That's been really outstanding. To begin with, can you explain in a nutshell, what is Celsius Network? What do you offer? What is it all about?
Sure. Pretty simple. I mean, we obviously big believers in crypto and decentralization. And I've been looking at the use cases, right? What is the killer app for crypto? What is the main use case? And obviously, the store of value for Bitcoin or Ethereum was the foundational application. But now, basically, Celsius was the first one in the world to offer this really simple way to earn yield or earn return on your digital assets. So you don't have to trade, you don't have to do anything complicated. You just download an app, or you go to a web app, you open an account, you deposit or you use your digital assets to basically earn yield. And you can also take a loan. If you take a loan, you effectively deferring your taxes because you're not selling your coins, you're not creating a capital event. So these are the two main components of what Celsius does: earns you yield or gives you a loan. And we, like you said, we've been doing it now for 4 years, longer than any DeFi or other CeFi company. And we have about 17 billion in assets from almost a million depositor, a million users worldwide. And I love Liechtenstein. I was there, visited several times, and got to tour the whole country on a bicycle in my 20s. So I definitely, love the free buses and the free. A lot of the services are provided free, so it's definitely a great little country in the Alps.
That's right. And it's now become a kind of the best jurisdiction for blockchain companies. And, there's this legend also that Vitalik Buterin opened the first bank account there, also transacting with crypto. So it's the banks and the environment there are very open and friendly. And also now the government had been structuring a legal framework to really ensure not only regulating one piece of the puzzle, but the whole crypto industry for tokenization of assets, for token generation, for price services, for identity services, and so on. So very, very important kind of role model at the moment. And hopefully jurisdictions like the US and now the ESMA in Europe are kind of inspired by this regulatory framework, because I can tell you it still gives us kind of creative entrepreneurial freedom to develop something innovative. So it's not completely it's not a clamp down on anything, but rather an innovation process, and that's exciting. So will you come back to Liechtenstein?
I would love to come, and it's you don't have to ask me hard. It's a beautiful country, and I'm definitely next time I'm in Europe, I'll definitely try to stop by and say hello.
Excellent. Yeah, exciting. And then now looking at your platform as a whole, you already spoke about 1 million users, a few billion in capital now on the platform. Can you give us additional numbers, like on the company itself? How big is the team? And then how big is like user base? Where is it coming from? Which regions? And maybe some KPIs for the users here.
Sure. Yeah. So we're almost 400 people now. We have our largest office, I think, is actually in Belgrade in Serbia, not too far away from where you are.
Yeah.
We have about 80 people there, maybe another 50 or 60 in kind of like the New York or the tri-state area. We have offices in many different countries, London and Tel Aviv and other places as well. A few people in Berlin. So definitely we hire people where we can find the talent, not necessarily have to be in the city where we are in. I'm based in New York, but we're hiring people worldwide. And we have just over 110,000 bitcoins on the platform. Mm-hmm. So that makes us one of the largest kind of holders of Bitcoin. We're probably larger than most exchanges or most platforms out there. And our main business is creating yield, or basically earning income on these Bitcoins, on the Ethereum, and so on. So we lend to institutions, to exchanges, to DeFi. We're a big DeFi participant, and also to retail. So if you want to take that margin loan that I was talking about before, you don't want to sell your coins, we'll be lending you fiat or stable coins against your Bitcoin or Ethereum. And now recently we got into the mining business. So we announced a month ago that we invested over $200 million into mining in North America. It's all carbon-free, carbon-neutral, green, mostly green energy, Bitcoin mining. And we're probably either the largest or the second largest miner in North America.
Okay, yeah, that sounds exciting. I read about the news. Can you give us some more insight? So that's an investment by Celsius as a company, out of like, or is it investment from the money you receive from the users to gain yield, or what's the structure and what are the goals there you want to achieve and do through the investment?
Yeah, so we have to pay interest on the coins that we have. So if we have 110,000 Bitcoin and we pay, let's say, 6%, we have to pay something like 7,000 Bitcoins every year to our community. We get some of that as interest income from loans, but why not build a Bitcoin factory and get some of the Bitcoins directly from the Bitcoin blockchain? So for us, we are not we're not looking at this as most mining financial players who are just trying to invest dollars and get back dollars. We're looking at it more as like a source of Bitcoin that creates a new revenue stream that is not correlated to our traditional, institutional or exchange business. So our community does benefit from it because they are getting, like, the interest payments that come in from the mining operations are distributed to our community. So they're benefiting from the yield that is created. And this way it's a win-win for everybody, right? It's a win-win for the community. It's a win-win for the Bitcoin blockchain, because we help secure the network and run it not in China or in Kazakhstan or whatever. We're running in North America.
Yeah.
So we help decentralize the Bitcoin network.
Important that you mentioned it. So I think especially with your base in New York City and the experience you have as an entrepreneur, I think is a key part here of the success of the project. And now there's another aspect of it at Celsius Network, which is the Cell token. And we had been listing the Cell token at LCX Exchange recently, also exposing it to our community with an Cell LCX pair as well, and a Cell Euro pair. Now, can you explain us and also summarize what is the Cell token and what can you do with it?
Sure. So Celsius started as a community project. So we basically went to the crypto community and said, we are going to create yield on crypto. Please help us build the project. And we had over 2,000 crypto community members basically purchased the initial $50 million worth of Cell token. And we then used that money to build the platform. Obviously, it's moved like 4 generations since, but basically we've delivered on everything in that white paper and more. And the utility of the token itself is the ability to earn more. So you can get 25% more interest on your assets. So if you don't want to get Bitcoin on your Bitcoin, you can also earn Cell token on your Bitcoin. And instead of Bitcoin interest, and you get 25% more. So instead of 6%, you get 9%, or instead of, well, not 9, probably 7%. Instead of 8.8% on your stable coins, you can earn more than 10%, 10.5%. So you get that extra benefit. You also get a 25% discount if you take a loan. So instead of paying 9% interest on the loan for 50% LTV, maybe you pay 7% interest, right? So the Cell token last year was the best performing crypto assets out of all the top 100 assets. So if you look at Masari did a survey by market cap, and Celsius was listed as number 1 ahead of all the famous coins that you know. And so it did very, very well because of the growth of the community. And this is very important because a lot of us, like I have a Coinbase account and a few other accounts, but none of those companies allow me to participate in the value creation, right? When Coinbase went public, they were worth $100 billion, but I didn't get anything for it. I traded, I bought Bitcoin, I bought Ethereum on Coinbase, but I didn't get any shares or any participation. Here, you basically, by using Celsius, you also get to participate in the value creation. And we've created over 300 millionaires. These are people that earned interest in Cell token, and the Cell token is now worth more than their actual investment, right? They're more than their actual coins that they put on the Celsius platforms.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So I think the community is key for all crypto projects. So when you look at the story from the initial token offering you did to now, how would you describe the key success factors of building such a community?
Yeah, so we did not immediately, like, there are over 10,000 projects out there, and the formula for most of them has been do an ICO, immediately list on Binance, dump on the community, and then decide if you want to build the product or if you want to create the project or everything else. So Celsius did almost the opposite, right? We basically did not list on any exchange for over a year. We wanted to make sure, even though we launched the product 3 months after the ICO, we waited until we had a real community and a real infrastructure and a lot of services, and that, I think, built a lot of trust with our users. Right, we've also paid this interest or yield now for almost 4 years. Every Monday we pay interest. Right, so the consistency of the service, the fact that we never missed a beat, never had a what do you call it, a hack, or assets were stolen or anything like that, or lost money with the counterparty. Right now, those things that happened in 4 years, considering the fact that there were two flash crashes and the pandemic and all kind of bad things that happened in the last 4 years in crypto, built a lot of trust with our community. So it's one thing to have a community; it's another thing to have tremendous amount of trust, right, with your community. Our community knows that we're always acting in their best interest, and I think that is a very, very important part of the relationship that we have with the million or so customers that use us every day.
Yeah, you're right. I think that's essential topics to grow the community, and this reliability and consistency is key. And so also from our side, when we first met 2018, we started out with the first product, and now building up it step by step. Sometimes we are not the fastest, but we have a 5 to 10 year plan, and that's something which is important to just be there in 5 to 10 years as well. Have a long-term vision and not burn through the money, burn through the users, and then have a lot of disappointment. So it's more about building consistency, reliability, also work with regulators to actually also make them happy and make the users happy. I think these are the key essentials of any startup, of any technology startups, and so that's the core part. Now, when I look at your at the website, let me just share this quickly so that users can also see. It's all about unbank yourself, and so there are key functionalities like earn, borrow, pay as a product. Can you describe these three categories once again and explain what users can do?
Yeah, sure. So earning, now you can earn on 42 different assets. About, I think, 14 of them are stable coins. We have 3 different gold assets. You can earn gold on gold, or gold on tokenized gold, right? Paxos, Tether Gold, or Coin Shares. So these are the 3 companies that mint these tokens, and they have gold sitting in the vault in Switzerland or in London or whatever. Also, we support 14 different blockchains. So if you think of obviously Bitcoin and Ethereum, but we have many, many other blockchains. So really, we don't choose winners and losers. We don't cheer for Solana and we hate Cardano, right? Or things like that. So we want the community to choose the projects that they like. Our job is to create yield on all the different projects. And if you're very risk averse, you can earn on stable coins, not take any risk on Bitcoin or Ethereum, or not risk on gold, for example. Or if you're really familiar with different projects, you can decide, okay, I'm gonna focus on Matic, or I'm gonna focus on some other project because I really believe in what they're doing. So we support, I think, more assets than anyone else, and we've paid more interest than anyone else, and been doing this longer than anyone else. On the loan side, we do loans anywhere from $500. That's the minimum. The largest one loan we've done was $100 million. Obviously, that was to an institution, but if you have the collateral, we'll give you the loan. I mean, we don't have a size limit. Again, with 17 billion in assets, we can do loans even bigger than 100 million. And the service allows you to basically send any token, and any of the 42 tokens or coins that we support, to anyone else in crypto. So you don't need to know their address. You can basically use WhatsApp, or you can use any other messaging app or SMS to send anyone in the world coins or tokens. And there's no transaction fee. There's no delay. It's instant. And we do everything for you in the background. So your receiver doesn't need to know anything about the blockchain or wallets or deposit addresses or anything like that. It's the best way to educate and communicate to other people what the blockchain and what crypto is all about. And one really unique thing about Celsius is that we don't charge any fees whatsoever, right? So the customer does not get, like there's no account fee or transfer fee or withdrawal fee or all these fees that you see in many different places. Celsius does not charge any fees. We create a yield and we get to keep a small piece of it. You get the majority of it. That's how we make our money, right? So you win, we win. And the beauty of it, you don't have to do anything. You just put your assets on Celsius, you go to sleep, you wake up Monday morning and you have a payment from us. Every Monday morning you get a payment. You don't have to trade, you don't have to move it, you don't have to optimize it. You just have to choose the asset that you trust. And we do all the rest of the work.
Okay, exciting. I think that's also a key part of why there are so many happy users. If you look at the user base now, I assume they're very international. Where is the majority coming from? Do you see any jurisdictions where Celsius is more famous than in other places?
Yeah, so about 40% are in North America, so that's US and Canada. Another 40 or so percent is Europe. So obviously UK is a big country for us, Italy, France. In Germany, we have partner. We don't do the service ourselves, so we use Bitwala. I think they changed their name now, but it used to be called Bitwala. And in other countries, we also use different partners. But Celsius also provides a service to third parties. So if you are using Voyager, there's a high chance you are actually using Celsius. If you're using several wallets in the UK, you will be probably using Celsius. Celsius actually provides that service, including Line, Japan. Line is a messenger like WhatsApp that has over 600 million customers. So they use Celsius as well as a platform. So we have about a dozen partners that also, some of them co-brand with us and some of them use their own brand. So we also provide the service to exchanges. There are several exchanges that offer yield, and Celsius is the engine that offers the yield behind the scenes. So again, you can find more details about that on our platform, on our website. We also have a developer portal, developers.celsius.network. And so definitely we're looking to partner with developers as well and kind of expand this to make it as easy to use. Basically, we want all the people to stop using their banks and come and earn yield on the blockchain. And that's the mission that we have. And, we promised 100 million new people to join the blockchain. We are at 1 million. So we have 99 million to go.
Yeah. Okay, that will be exciting journey. And I totally agree. We're still at the beginning of the development. I now see that there are more and more questions coming in. So please give us your questions. Just comment on YouTube and then I'll pick the best questions out of there. Feel free to just type in anything you'd like to ask me or Alex, and then we're opening up for questions soon. So let's collect more and then I'll pick some. But now I have a key question to you in terms of your proof of community. Can you explain what is proof of community? And then there's also the rewards explorer. What is that all about?
Yeah, that's a great question, because we really invented a whole new category in accounting. I know a lot of people be like, accounting, okay, I'm going to sleep. This is the section where I get a nap. But if you think of double entry accounting system, right, which is what the whole world is using, it's really like we stole it from the Medicis, right, in Italy, from like 1,000 years ago or more. So there was very little new innovation happening in the accounting space. And normally what happens with a bank or with a company is that they run their business the whole year, and at the end of the year they start an audit, and a few months later some third party, an accounting firm or an audit firm, comes and says, okay, we checked all the numbers, everything is fine, here's your stamp, and you can trust this company. They really made a profit or they didn't make a profit, right? And every few months we hear about a giant company that, even though they went through all these audits, failed, right? And they lost all the money, and the investors lost money, and the customers lost money. And you ask yourself, how is it possible? Like one example, the biggest example in history is Lehman Brothers, right? Lehman Brothers went bankrupt in 2008. And few months before they went bankrupt, not few years, few months before they went bankrupt, their auditor issued an audit and said everything is wonderful with Lehman Brothers. There's no problem. The company is profitable. They're doing great. Don't worry about Lehman Brothers. They're excellent, right? And then they filed for a $600 billion bankruptcy. $600 billion, the largest bankruptcy in history. So what Celsius is trying to do is not just pay you interest or give you a loan, but also make sure that that never, ever happen again. So instead of double entry accounting, we created triple entry accounting. What does it mean? It's double entry plus the blockchain. The blockchain becomes a triple verification. And instead of doing the audit once a year, when all the information is already too late and is stale, how about we do it in real time? So Celsius publishes all the information about all of our transactions every Monday. And anyone, even if you're not a Celsius customer, can go and do an audit and verify that the information we published is correct and accurate on the blockchain. Obviously, we cannot manipulate the blockchain. It's an immutable ledger. So it's very hard for us to lie or cheat or steal based on that kind of transparency. So what we created is a very, very high level standard to force everybody who wants to be in the lending or yield business to perform to this new standard. If you're promising to pay somebody 8.8% on their stable coins, good. Show us what did you get in coins, in basically in assets from customers? Where did you deploy them? How much did you earn? Did you give each customer what they deserve? If I'm 1% of the pool, of the BTC pool, did I get 1% of the interest? And Celsius shows you everybody else who earned interest in the BTC pool. So it's not just, you don't know their name. We basically mask their identities and things like that. But you get to verify, zero proof verification about the fact that you know exactly the total sum earned and how it breaks down. In the Celsius case, it will be hundreds of thousands of customers. How much did they earn? And we actually rank you and tell you, okay, you're number 48,000 in the total of 800,000 that actually got paid interest last Monday.
So, and that's what you call this proof of community, basically, that the community and this third level of accounting is creating a new level of transparency overall.
Yes.
And now, on top of that, there is this rewards explorer. What is that about? Or what is the rewards explorer?
Right. So the reward explorer is like more for geeks and technical people who want to dig into that and basically explore and do statistics or do comparison to create any kind of basically visualized assets. So we don't just give you the data, we also give you this explorer, this tool that you can develop applications on and really create stuff that improves on what we already built. And we published Reward Explorer on Friday, and on Saturday afternoon one of our Celsians or somebody who's in our community developed this amazing report that actually scans all the data and tells you coin by coin what's happening. Do we have more coins or less coins? Are we paying more interest or less interest? And he did an amazing job in one day, right? So we were so excited about it that we immediately hired him to Celsius. But this shows you when you open it up and you open it for the community, Reward Explorer is an excellent tool for people. If I have a lot of money in Celsius, I want to know what's happening. I want to dig into the data. I want to be able to, and try that with your bank. Go to your bank and tell them, hey, I heard Celsius is doing this thing. So I want to know what you're doing with my deposit. Who are you lending it to? How much you're earning? How much of the earnings I'm getting? And I want to know everybody else in the bank, how much they're earning also. Okay. Obviously, they're not going to just laugh at you. They're going to throw you out of the bank and close your account because they're going to think that you're a crazy person. But that's what is possible on the blockchain, but it is not possible in traditional finance.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the change here of where decentralized lending or decentralized finance really makes a difference, because it's like opening up to kind of new services, but also creating new transparency, and might disrupt banking as we know it.
Yep.
Now, looking at the kind of key questions, there's here one question from Adi asking, when will Celsius card be available to people who've signed up to the waiting list? And could you explain some benefits of the card over competitors?
Yeah, so the main problem with today's credit cards or debit cards is that they are just another money making source for the banks, right? So if I'm a bank, in most cases, a quarter or half of my income comes from the fact that I give my customers credit and I charge them 24%. And the Fed used to charge me in the United States, me, the bank, 6 or 7% for the money. Now it's 0, but I still charge my customers 24%. I didn't lower my rates, even though the cost of capital went down. So it's a very, very expensive and a predatory way to really work with your customers, right? Because for most customers, in the United States at least, after you pay your mortgage, the second largest payment is interest payment on your credit card, right? And that is just not a way to live. Well, like for most people, they look at the statement at the end of the year, and they see that they paid $5,000 or $10,000 a year in interest instead of putting that money in return. So what Celsius decided to do is create a card that doesn't do that, right? A card that allows you to basically get credit, but get it against assets you already have. And because of that, we charge much lower interest, single-digit interest. So you get to basically use credit and build credit, but not get locked up in this, lifelong torture of paying off your credit cards, right? Most people have a credit card balance for many, many, many years. Like in the United States, there's over $2 trillion worth of outstanding credit with an average of 24.7%. That's the average in the United States.
Yeah. Crazy average. Yeah. So crazy average.
And over 600 billion a year in interest paid from some of the poorest people to the richest banks in the world, right? The banks that deliver record profit. The banks in the United States just published their numbers yesterday. Record profit, all-time record quarterly profits. I saw I think Goldman made 16 billion, JP Morgan made 18 billion in one quarter. That's profit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, amazing. And now, with the card you announced, is that US focused card? Is it for European users? And what's the launch plan? What's the status of the development roughly?
Yeah, so we partnered with Visa. We plan to offer it worldwide. Obviously, we can't offer it in all the countries. We're not going to launch it in one day worldwide. So it's going to be country by country, but it's coming soon, and we will be publishing all the information about where we're going first and so on. So all of that is in the works, and I'm not going to spoil the surprise. So we'll keep it. If you're on the list, you're going to find out pretty soon.
Okay. Then a general question here from Ligma A knows thoughts on ECB announcing a digital euro, and maybe also your thoughts, I would add, on the digital dollar. What are your thoughts there? The official central banks going after central bank digital currencies.
Yeah, so I think China kind of started the race. They basically shot the starter before everybody else. Everybody's still preparing for the race, and they're already running the 400 meter. They're already off the gate and they're running as fast as they can, right? So for China, this is CBDC is a very important piece of their plan to become the global reserve currency of the world. Their Belt and Road Initiative is denominated in digital yuan. If you're one of the 68 countries that's going to trade with China on that road, you have to use digital yuan. And they obviously want to force people to not use the dollar for that, right? So in the United States, my view is that the Federal Reserve and Treasury are going to allow industry actually to continue creating digital assets like USDC or Tether, not Tether, but Pax or TUSD. Those are the three kind of most popular stable coins, dollar-denominated stable coins issued by a trust company. And I don't think that the US government or the Fed is going to issue its own CBDC. So the United States is going to go for basically an open market in which industry is competing with each other to create the best product, including DeFi, including CeFi, where China is going to continue with its kind of centralized, Politburo-driven a mandate of what currency is and who dictates it. And then we have a third version. The third version are independent public open ledger initiatives that are blockchain based, that are not tied to this or that country. And so we have a 3-horse race, right? 3 different participants all trying to become the standard or the future of finance.
Yeah. So I think the race is on, absolutely. And China obviously wants to control financial markets as a whole. For them, a dream would come true if they could tax the people or find the people directly and take it from the wallets automatically. While I think in the Western countries, the open market model will be key.
But to your point,
very interesting, discussion.
Yeah,
going
your
on.
point about the ECB. So the ECB is almost in the middle, right? They don't want to allow industry to compete with them. They want to control the issuance of money. They want to control the liquidity and banks and everything else. But at the same time, they don't want to be like China. They don't want to be. They don't want to decide for you what you're going to do with the money or how you're going to spend it or anything like that, right? So we have different experiments going on, and we have to wait and see which one of them is going to be best for the people. Because I think if you asked all 3 of them, they'll all tell you, of course, we're doing it for the people. But the people have to vote with their assets to decide, am I going to hold euros, yuan, or US dollars?
Right. Yeah. And there's actually one experiment or one thing which we have now implemented, and it's Fight Oma here, one of our community members, says, please explain him the tokenized euro and how great it would be for all European to get euro gain yield. So we partnered up with Monerium, an e-money institution, and they did not issue a stable coin, a euro stable coin, but digital euro. So as the European law defines e-money as a digital money instrument already, they issued e-money on chain, and that's digital euro basically. And we are now using this as a fiat on and off ramp. So you're wiring with a SEPA payment euro into the account, and it's immediately put on chain. You can see the transaction of minting, and then the euro is held with the e-money institution, our partner, and then you have it in your LCX wallet immediately. And so here with Europe, we basically have this special law of e-money, which we are now leveraging to create a fiat and on and off ramp. And that might be actually something here for your platform as well. And it's also leading to another question, which is coming here. So maybe also relation to that, how do you decide what tokens to add to the Celsius system? So would you add a tokenized euro? Would you add LCX token or other assets, or like what's the process there?
Yep. No, great question. And we have a very simple process. First, we want to know that our community wants it, right? So we usually, for example, we did a survey on Twitter. We asked our community, "Do you want Dogecoin?" And 80% said no, never add Dogecoin. So that's easy one. But even if they say yes, okay, we want Dogecoin, we have to create yield on Doge, which is not that easy, right? So for us to create yield, we have to either find an institution that wants to borrow the coins and pay us interest, or we have to do mining, or we have to do something else to create yield so you can actually get paid Dogecoin on your Dogecoin. And then we can say, okay, you can also get paid in Cell Token or in LCX or something else, right? So the minute we have a yield, we can convert one asset into another and pay you how you want to be paid, right? So Celsius doesn't pick projects and says this is a good project, this is a bad project. Anything like gold, we can create yield on gold. That's why we've added 3 different gold products, right? We don't make the product, we don't hold the gold, we just create yield on the gold. So we're definitely looking for ideas. We're looking for things that will be interesting for our community, and sometimes they start small, like we are now adding Luna, which is not necessarily a bit large market cap coin, but it's definitely something that we can work with because the community is very strong and it wants to add this asset into the Celsius portfolio. So that's really how it works. We also need a legal opinion. So for example, we may, for example, for XRP, we don't pay interest in the United States, but we pay interest for non-US holders of XRP. Okay. So things like that.
Okay. Yeah, that's obviously a very important topic. And there probably a question from my side in terms of regulatory and compliance aspects. Globally, there are different jurisdictions. Liechtenstein stands out with a clear legal framework. US is now following European, like the European regulator also coming up with MiCA. Now, the markets for crypto assets as a draft. How do you see regulation, and why is it important for Celsius to grow in the future?
Sure. So Celsius was actually different than most other ICOs. When we started the project, we immediately filed with FinCEN to do KYC, AML, and all the other stuff. We filed an exemption with the SEC in the United States, a Reg D exemption. So we believed from day one that, like you, I think you're the same way, that the regulation is here. It's mandatory. It's not something that you can just ignore or deal with later. And because of that, we decided to put a lot of effort on this. I think worldwide, regulators are cracking down on all the companies that are either ignoring or operating offshore and pretending like these rules don't apply to them. So the industry is being cleaned out between the companies that are operating in a legal and compliant way and the companies that are on the fringes that are just trying to avoid regulation, right? And so for us, yep.
Yeah, no, I can't agree more. I think that's really a key part of my thinking about the industry as well. It's the early days of the internet, also everything was completely out of control, a lot of innovation happening. That's where also like most of the new ideas come from. And it's also here, the first 10 years of the industry, very, very creative. But now we have to take it from the 1 million users to the 100 million, to the 1 billion, to the 2 billion users. And as we are tackling, as we're working in financial markets at some sort, it's only possible if we innovate together with the policymakers and also teach them or educate them on like what can be done. And regulators love transparency, so I would assume they would love your system, your proof of community. I mean, that this is bringing a complete new level of control also to the market. But I assume most of the discussions you're having they don't even understand what you're doing. So
Well,
do you
we
get
all
sometimes, like from the like FinCEN or SEC, are there workshops? Do you engage with regulators?
Yeah, I'm sure you went through the same path yourself, right? Of basically having to educate the regulators about all the different aspects of the services you provide, and how do you make sure that you're compliant to all the rules and everything else, right? So, and they want to see your procedures, they want to see your risk officer and your compliance officer and all this other stuff. So,
Yeah.
so we a big part of our 400 people is people that deal with this stuff every day. And also, it's also important for our customers, because a lot of our customers are these very large institutions, and before they even are willing to take a loan from you, the first thing they say, okay, show me you're compliant, show me your procedures, show me that you know how to do KYC and AML. It's not just enough to write that you're doing it. We want to see that your process is of high enough standard that we can rely on it. We know that these coins that you have did not come from North Korea, did not come from Iran or from some other illicit activity. So all those things, if we want to bring 1 billion people and we want them to earn interest, guess who's going to pay that interest? It's all institutions and exchanges and banks that have very, very high standards. So if you cannot show to them that you are willing to operate at the same level or even higher, they're just not going to work with you, right? And a lot of our competitors who are just doing DeFi on Ethereum or just doing something simple, they think they can scale and work with the world's largest institution. I keep telling them it doesn't work that way. You don't just press a button and invite everybody and they just go, oh, DeFi, sure. Yeah, let me borrow $1 billion on DeFi,
Still a lot of like time to pass to really educate everybody. And then also what a lot of people in crypto space don't understand is the big banks and also the countries with thinking about central bank digital currencies, they have a lot to lose. So they are risking their reputation. They're risking their other like current clients or user base. And in regards to central banks, they would risk even a stability of the current financial monetary system. So they have a lot of things to lose. While the entrepreneurs like us, we can like go in, innovate, and like build something from scratch and slowly building it up. So I think that's an opportunity, especially looking at the US market, and where I see a lot of entrepreneurs are experimenting with new things. And this should not be punished, but rather learn from the failures and improve over time. So I think in that regard, it's good to see some policy makers having like sandboxes or ways to engage with them without being penalized right from start. Nevertheless, I do see that the barriers of entry are getting much stronger. I think if somebody would come up with an idea, let's do Celsius copycat, not possible. Yeah, now it's like too late to enter the market in many ways. So I think there you have a big advantage. Let's jump in another question here from Chris. What do you expect from more conservative, safer business models and safer companies, I would say, like LCX? Maturing will take much longer than like most return of investment projections. What's your take on like taking it slowly rather than a pump and dump?
Yeah, so I think like you said before, this is my 8th startup as a founder. So I've done this a few times before, and all of my startup were basically do it slowly, do it right, plan for the long term, focus on your customers, right? Do everything the best way you can. And I think it's like the companies that focus on that usually do better, right? The companies that try to really go fast and do it as fast as possible and capture market share, very few of them actually make it. Most of them blow up or have a problem or whatever. So So I think we're still in the discovery phase. We're still trying to figure out, okay, what are the right business models? Which are the right blockchains and protocols and algorithms and so on. So the people that are running too fast, they're probably going to make a lot of mistakes betting on the wrong projects. The people that are moving a little bit slower are going to have more time to identify both the problems and the opportunities and build a long-term business. So I think, like DeFi is a great example of something that is probably moving too fast, right? And
Yes.
we're seeing every few days, like this hack that Mark Cuban was part of, right? $3.2 billion lost, boom, like this, like in a few minutes, right? So you want to be part of that, or do you want to be part of a platform that takes its time and checks everything and doesn't step on a landmine every Tuesday? So those are the options that are in front of us.
Yes, yeah, that was a very interesting story. It felt like an uneducated person would jump into that field and blindly invest. And there you see that even very experienced investors like Mark Cuban, like fell down this rabbit hole. So that was interesting news to see. But I think that's the balance between innovation and like getting it right. And I think your experience as a founder is also a key part there. There's a question here, another one from Chris T. Again, over 1 billion unbanked global citizens who have intellectual, creative, and financial resources to contribute to the global economy and no way to do so. Got to bring them on board. So how to bring the next billion people, unbanked people, on board? Some don't even have a facility or access to banks of any financial service. They don't have lending. They don't have credit cards like so common in the US. How do you see these emerging markets?
Yeah, so I talk about this from experience, right? Voice over IP in the beginning had a very high barrier. It wasn't like today where you can just download one of 100 apps and you're using voice over IP, or you use Zoom or some other service and it's built in for free. So obviously we now have almost 5 billion people using voice over IP, right? Because it's free and it's available, and smartphones become cheap enough for anyone to download the app. The same thing is going to happen with the blockchain, right? So I think right now we still have high gas fees. Like Ethereum is still anywhere between $5 and $50, which is obviously way, way, way too much. KYC is $3 to do KYC on somebody, right? So we need to solve these problems if we want to bring this 1.7 billion people who are don't have any banking relationship. So what Celsius, our slogan is unbank the banked and bank the unbanked, right? So we first have to unbank the bank. They are the ones, the rich people that gave us now almost $20 billion worth of coins are the ones who are really subsidizing the service for the 7.6 billion, 7.6 out of 7.8 billion people who are actually can't afford to join the blockchain today, right? So we have to use the rich who want to unbank themselves and earn yield, protect themselves from fiat currencies, use that to build the rest of the infrastructure. And that's what the industry, one way or another, that's what the industry is doing, right? So it's going to take a few years. We need layer 2, we need ETH2, we need all these innovations to lower the costs, and then we can do basically bank the unbanked.
So there's still a lot of challenges ahead to actually get to that point, but the opportunity is there, and we do see that countries who are like where the local fiat currency is in trouble, where inflation rates are high, these are also countries where adoption to Bitcoin and crypto is very high. So we see that in Turkey, we see Venezuela, Nigeria, so high adoption rate over there, and that's very interesting markets. But you're right, it needs to be scalable, and then also the question is how to adopt it in a manner that you don't get forbidden in these countries, but rather empower the community, and also like not completely step on the foot of the policymakers over there. So that's a big challenge. Now, as a key question for us is, we are started out with a lot of utility tokens, but we also are focusing and truly believe in the focus in the future of tokenized assets and security tokens. So we've developed the Lichtenstein protocol as a new standard to issue security tokens and have a compliant or on-chain compliance level built in. So there's a real-time cap table, like a token holder registry, which is on-chain, and then a lot of functionalities which are also needed to trade securities. Of course, a financial security is per se the yield generation machine. So a lot of the bonds, yields, debts, and everything have fixed or variable interest rates. Now, with security tokens coming on, is that something you are focusing on as well? And there are like also a question here from the community: how do you think about security offerings possible to give yield on these coins in the future on Celsius, maybe with Lichtenstein protocol or with support of LCX?
Yeah, so I think, obviously the blockchain is a much more efficient platform. It trades 24/7. It has much lower fees. So I think most securities, most bonds, most stocks are going to migrate one way to another. But today, it's a very hard thing to do. It's not easy, right? If you go to a regulator and you say, I want to take my stock and I want to trade it on this exchange, it is not as simple as just doing this migration. So I think we have to, again, find a very simple use case and launch that first, and then use that to actually migrate a lot of the existing assets over. And we haven't found that yet. I think there's a lot of experiments going in different countries about security tokens. But in most countries, the adoption has been very, very slow. And I think it's going to take some time to convince existing issuers who are making a lot of money on fees and on manual processes and on, they work from 9:30 to 4 p.m. They work half a day, less than half a day, to actually change their behavior. So unless we prove that securitized tokens or securities on the blockchain are the right solution, the traditional finance is going to keep the old ways. That's a very high source of income for the banks and for Wall Street firms, as well as for European financial institutions. So we're going to have to wrestle it away from them. And to do that, again, we need a very strong utility and a vertical where we can win and invite a lot of players to come and participate on that platform.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there we are. It's a process that now with the Liechtenstein law, for example, it's much easier to do a security token offering. Yet the infrastructure are not there. There's no good platforms to trade. Liquidity is not there, and also, a major of the users are then jumping into meme coins like Dogecoin or something like that. So we are continue on the development, but we also have to see how the markets are developing. As a result, we have now announced something which is called Tiamonds. And so here's a chart. It consists of two pieces of it. One is Tiamonds, which is a tokenized diamond. It's a one-on-one representation of a diamond. And each diamond is paying out a reward out of TIA tokens. So if you're holding one TIA Tiamond, you will be getting 1 million tokens over 1 million minutes. So that's almost 2 years where you receive TIA tokens every minute. And the TIA tokens are a deflationary crypto asset with reflection, rebalancing, and burn. And so that might be actually something interesting, because every time that there's an on transaction happening, then 10% will be taken as a fee and redistributed to users, as well as 2.5% being burned and 2.5% being bought into LCX token. So there is something where a meme token or this actually the tokenization part is combined with something fun, which people love and use a lot. How do you overcome these things? So we tried with the Tiamonds project basically to create something which is more complex, like a tokenized diamond, but we saw that the demand is not very high. Yet we want to educate the users to talk about it, and we created this more fun tier token as a side. Do you also sometimes how do you educate people about decentralized lending?
Yeah, so look, the community today is a very small community. Anyone who tells you, oh, everybody already knows about it, doesn't understand anything. So we work very, very hard to convince both existing crypto community users and new users every day that this is safe, this is scalable, this is a great alternative to their traditional finance or banking relationship. And it's winning people one by one. There's no button you press and suddenly 1 million people show up, so and it takes time, like it's not. So I think, again, yield or interest is something that no bank is really offering anymore. In most of Europe is negative rates. In the United States, the rate's almost zero. So it's a very easy competition, right? You're offering 5, 6, 8%. They're offering zero. Customers decide to move their assets. So we need to do the same thing with security tokens, right? We need to identify an area that no longer is possible in traditional finance and offer something that is unique and that gives people a reason to move their assets, right? They have to move value from traditional finance into basically tokenized DeFi or tokenized securities.
Right. So the learning period is very important. In general, like the community here gave very positive feedback for our session here, telling about this was so informative and great. So it would be awesome to share it to Celsius community and to LCX community as well. So we will be doing small clips, sharing them on Twitter. So kind of the best quotes will be shared very soon. But before I let you go, Alex, my final question to everyone joining these sessions here is, we are talking about the future of decentralized lending. So if you look at the overall market, what are the key 3 trends for the market and the impact of Celsius for the future growth?
Yeah, so the key trends. Obviously, DeFi, I think, is a very important trend. So the ability to write code and repurpose code that other people created, right? Forking Uniswap or forking other projects. I think creating stable coins, that is by itself is a huge innovation. Some of these stable coins are synthetic. Some of them are actually pegged to fiat currencies, but both of those are extremely important innovation that I think is going to change the future. And the third one is in my view is the level of trust or the adoption that we're seeing. So right now there's basically almost $2 trillion in crypto in general in market value, but there's close to 100 billion worth of fiat that moved, that basically is the foundation of this locked assets in DeFi. And the fact that people are trusting DeFi with $100 billion is a very, very important part of the equation, right? So we need all of those pieces to scale and work together to really help, again, unbank the banked and bank the unbanked.
Excellent. Yeah. So I think great future ahead in terms of decentralization, and Celsius obviously will be one of the key players there. I want to thank you for taking the time here to join. For everybody listening, you can buy and trade the CEL token at the LCX exchange. and obviously also at our new DEX aggregator, Fire Salamander. That's something where you can then explore the best price where you can get sell. And then, thank you all for listening. Thanks, Alex, for your time. And we'll continue the discussions on the partnership ideas. I think we now did start with the listing, and there's might be some other things coming as well, but we continue the conversation, and then the community will know first if there's something coming. Thank you for your time, and then onwards and upwards. Yeah.
Thanks for having me, and again, congrats on what you built, and thanks for having us on the exchange. Obviously, a listing sell token and so on, but the digital euro sounds like a very good idea, so we should definitely follow up on that.
Great. Thanks, Alex. Bye-bye.
Sure.
This is LCX Insights Live. For more insights, please visit lcx.com/insights and follow us on Twitter @LCX.